Tonight, breaking news, the new interview with President Trump, defending his son Don Jr., saying many people would have taken that meeting with the Russian lawyer. And Don Jr. saying in retrospect he probably would have done things differently. And he could not rule out meeting with other people from Russia. Also tonight, the new and chilling video emerging, a brutal attack, an American college grad on vacation overseas, killed by an angry mob. What happened in the moments before? The images coming in right now, the FBI and authorities digging and putting up tents, searching for 4 young men, a former baseball player, 2 of them construction workers. And tonight, a person of interest now under arrest. Severe storms at rush hour after tornadoes already reported, and this lightning at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. It is all moving east at this hour. And new concern tonight in the Antarctic. An iceberg the size of Delaware breaks off.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Wednesday night. And we begin tonight with President Trump defending his son, saying many would have done the same thing in saying yes to a meeting where he expected to get dirt on Hillary Clinton with help from the Russian government. Tonight, Don Jr. acknowledging he likely would have done things differently. And he has also asked, were there other meetings with the Russians? ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl leading us off.
Tonight, President Trump is coming to the defense of his son. He says he doesn't blame Don Jr. for agreeing to meet with a woman described as a Russian government attorney who claimed to have dirt on Hillary Clinton. In an interview with Reuters, the president says, "I think many people would have held that meeting." In an email exchange with an acquaintance, Don Jr. was told the purpose of the meeting was to provide the Trump campaign with some official documents and information that would incriminate Hillary. The information described as high level and sensitive, and part of Russia and its government support for Mr. Trump. Don Jr.'s response, "If it's what you say, I love it." Last night, Don Jr. went on Fox News to explain.
In retrospect, I probably would have done things a little differently. For me, this was opposition research. They had something, maybe concrete evidence to all the stories I'd been hearing about, but they were probably underreported for, years, not just during the campaign. So I think I wanted to hear it out.
Did you ever meet with any other person from Russia that you know?
I don't even know. I've probably met with other people from Russia,
I mean,
but certainly
not
in the context of a formalized meeting or anything like that, because why would I?
When asked in March by the New York Times whether he'd ever had campaign-related meetings with Russians, Donald Trump Jr. said none that were set up, and certainly none that I was representing the campaign in any way, shape, or form. And just a month after the meeting with the Russian lawyer, Don Jr. angrily dismissed suggestions the Trump campaign had anything to do with Russia.
It's disgusting. It's so phony.
Also entangled in all of this, Donald Trump's son-in-law and top advisor, Jared Kushner, who attended the meeting with the Russian lawyer after Don Jr. forwarded him the email chain with the subject line, Russia, Clinton, private and confidential.
What do you say to Democrats who say that Jared Kushner's security clearance should be revoked?
Once again, we don't discuss security clearances, but I think Democrats are trying to play political games, and I think it's ridiculous.
Is there any concern over the top advisor of the president?
Did nothing wrong? No.
The president himself has been out of public view for days. Aides describe him as angry and frustrated. But to date, these images emerged, the president meeting with faith leaders in the Oval Office, laying their hands on him in prayer.
John Karl with us live tonight from the White House. And John, in this new interview with Reuters tonight, the president for the first time is actually describing how he questioned Vladimir Putin about meddling in the U.S. presidential election.
David, the president told Reuters that he spent the first 20 to 25 minutes of that meeting with Putin in Germany talking about the issue of Russian interference. This is how the president described it. I said, "Did you do it?" He said, "No, I did not. Absolutely not." I then asked him a second time in a totally different way. He said, "Absolutely not." But, David, no indication in this interview about whether or not the president accepted Putin's denials.
John Karl leading us off tonight. John, thank you. And after that Russian lawyer who met with Don Jr. said that she was not connected to the Russian government and that she had no interest in politics, there are growing questions tonight after images emerged of her in the front row on Capitol Hill. If she's not interested in politics, why was she there? Our chief foreign correspondent, Terry Moran, in Moscow, going to find her again.
She's at the center of a global media firestorm.
Do you want to ask a question?
But Natalia Veselnitskaya says she's not even interested in politics. Still, in Moscow, Veselnitskaya is known as a powerhouse, politically connected lawyer. And she's no stranger to Washington. There she is in the front row of a 2016 congressional hearing on Russian sanctions, just 5 days after she got that meeting at Trump Tower with top campaign officials, including Donald Trump Jr. He was told she was a Russian government attorney bringing damaging information about Hillary Clinton. So we asked her about it today.
Is that true or false?
Listen, she says, I have never had compromising materials on Hillary Clinton. Her only agenda, she says, relieving some U.S. sanctions. She and Trump Jr. agree on one thing. That meeting was a bust. He wanted to hear from me that which I did not tell him, she says. He got disappointed from not hearing it. Today, Veselnitskaya insisted she was not a Kremlin emissary.
Were you carrying any message, any information from anyone in the Russian government to the Trump campaign?
No, no.
You seriously think that if the Russian Federation could do something like that, they would do it through me, she says? Come on, it's just funny.
And Terry Moran joins us from Moscow. And Terry, I know you reported the Russian lawyer denies she's a lawyer connected to the Russian government, even saying, quote, I'm not interested in politics. But how does she explain images like this one, sitting in the front row in that Senate hearing here in Washington, D.C.?
It's a striking image, David, and what she says is that she was publicly advocating her position on U.S. sanctions. That's not something she would do, she says, if she were a spy.
Terry Moran in Moscow for us. Terry, thank you. Now to the fireworks on Capitol Hill today. President Trump's pick to replace James Comey at the FBI. Front and center, asked about loyalty to the president and asked about what the president said just today, that this is all a witch hunt. How his nominee answered. ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas in the room.
After firing his previous FBI director James Comey, President Trump's pick to replace him, Chris Wray, facing intense scrutiny today. Grilled about everything from loyalty to the president to the president's son, Don Jr.
If you get a call from somebody suggesting that a foreign government wants to help you by disparaging your opponent, tell us all to call the FBI.
Any threat or effort to interfere with our elections from any nation state or any non-state actor is the kind of thing the FBI would want to know.
All right, so I'll take it that we should call you, and that's a great answer.
And after those one-on-one meetings between President Trump and James Comey, the new nominee was asked, what would he do?
If the president asks you to do something unlawful or unethical, what do you say?
First, I would try to talk him out of it, and if that failed, I would resign.
Just today, President Trump defending his son, again saying the investigation into possible collusion with the Russians is a witch hunt.
I'm asking you, as the future FBI director, do you consider this endeavor a witch hunt?
I do not consider Director Mueller to be on a witch hunt.
And when asked whether he would pledge loyalty to the president,
my loyalty is to the Constitution. No one asked me for any kind of loyalty oath at any point during this process, and I sure as heck didn't offer one.
Tonight, Chris Wray's answers seeming to sway even some Democrats.
So you think he'll be independent enough?
Yes, I do. If that changes, I'll let you know.
All right, Pierre Thomas with us live at the FBI. Chris Wray does seem to be headed to confirmation. Rare agreement here on both sides, Pierre?
David, I think they were satisfied with his answers that he's a just the facts kind of guy who's not afraid to challenge the president. He once threatened to resign over a controversial surveillance plan during the last Bush administration. David?
Pierre Thomas live at the FBI for us. Thank you, Pierre. We do move on now tonight into newly released surveillance video showing the fatal beating of an American while abroad. Bakari Henderson, just graduating from college in May, celebrating with a vacation in Greece with friends. The video tonight shows him running and then a mob chasing him. And a warning, it is disturbing. Here's Kana Whitworth.
Tonight, the newly released surveillance video. 22-year-old Bakari Henderson seen running from a mob of angry men on the Greek island of Zakynthos. He's shoved into a car, violently kicked and punched in the face. His friends say he was pummeled with brass knuckles. The savage attack carried out in under 15 seconds. A man and a woman rushing to stop the beating. Someone performing CPR, but it wasn't enough. Later, authorities saying Henderson wasn't able to defend himself, suffering severe head trauma. 9 men under arrest, 7 of them Serbian tourists, covering their heads, and 2 workers at the bar where the fight started. This video from inside showing the first punches. Henderson's friends back home in Austin, Texas, horrified by the tragedy, saying he had just graduated from college and had a bright future ahead of him.
He was going to do so many great things with his life.
David, Henderson's friends say they were minding their own business in the bar when several men got in Henderson's face. As for those charged, their lawyer says they never intended to kill anyone. David?
Kena Whitworth, thank you. We turn next to the search efforts, the digging underway at this hour near Philadelphia in the search for those 4 young men who vanished. Tonight, we have learned a person of interest is now under arrest. ABC's Eva Pilgrim from the scene.
Tonight, with the search for these 4 missing men intensifying, officials announcing the rearrest of person of interest, Cosmo DiNardo.
This is for receiving stolen property and theft of a 1996 Nissan Maxima that is owned by Thomas Mio, 21 years old.
That car found in a garage on DiNardo's family's property. Mio's diabetes medication still inside. Officials say DiNardo was trying to sell the car for $500. Authorities searching this field for any sign of Tom Mio, 19-year-old Jimmy Patrick, 22-year-old Mark Sturgis, and 19-year-old Dean Finicaro, all missing since last week.
We have recovered several important pieces of evidence.
Neighbor Susan Coleman says she heard gunfire on DiNardo's property on Saturday.
We heard it, we felt it. It was violent.
Sturgis and Mio described as close friends. They both worked for the same construction business. Finicaro, their mutual friend. Patrick, a popular sophomore at Loyola University in Maryland.
He was on the baseball team. He was the best kind of friend.
And Eva Pilgrim with us again tonight. The man arrested now being held on $5 million bail, you were telling us?
That's right, David. Prosecutors are arguing that Cosmo DiNardo is a flight risk and a danger to the community. His parents releasing a statement tonight saying they sympathize with the parents of those missing men and are cooperating in every way possible with law enforcement. David?
Eva Pilgrim in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Next to the severe storms moving across the country at this hour, 6 reported tornadoes in just the past 24 hours. This one right here in Buxton, North Dakota. And look at this, lightning striking within just feet of a passenger plane at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Let's get to meteorologist Rob Marciano live here in New York, tracking it all. It's moving east, right, Rob?
It is, David. A lot of heat and humidity fueling these storms. It is mid-July after all. Look at the flash flood watches that are posted tonight from Boston all the way through Chicago into the Corn Belt, and a severe thunderstorm watching through Wisconsin as well. The next 36 hours, the action is going to be along this front. Several pulses through it, and by this time tomorrow, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, the Ohio River Valley really getting it. But south of that, really steamy, really hot. Heat advisories out from Kansas City to New York City to D.C. to Philly. Many of those areas are going to feel like 100 degrees tomorrow. David?
Rob Marciano with us again tonight. Thank you, Rob. And from the bottom of the earth this evening, one of the largest icebergs ever recorded has now broken away from the Antarctic ice shelf. Scientists have been concerned for some time about this, and ABC's Lindsay Davis with the images coming in now.
A massive iceberg is free-floating tonight after breaking away from the ice shelf in Antarctica. More than 1 trillion tons and the size of Delaware, the iceberg is one of the largest to ever snap off. The crack has been expanding for years. Scientists are calling the split an enormous geographical event and are studying what role, if any, regional warming may have played. Disappearing ice is an issue on both poles, as we saw firsthand during a visit to Baffin Island just off the coast of Greenland in 2012.
There's so much more water now compared to when I first came out here. And now it's like little islands of ice.
While breaks have happened before, what's unusual about this latest one is the size. The concern is if enough large glaciers end up in the ocean, sea levels could rise, which is why scientists will be keeping close watch. Lindsay Davis, ABC News, New York.
Lindsay, thank you. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Wednesday. The commuter nightmare in a major American city and the images tonight. Look at this train stuck on the tracks. The problem forcing hundreds of passengers to walk back through the tunnels. Also, the major cancer headline breaking today. The story of this little girl and the breakthrough tonight that could affect so many just like her. More on that coming up. And your money tonight, how to make hundreds of dollars a month as a mystery shopper going to the stores you already go to. And in some cases, there's free merchandise as well. How to do it? We come back.
This is ABC's Jonathan Karl, and I've got a podcast recommendation for you. Mine. It's Powerhouse Politics from ABC News. Each week, Rick Klein and I talk to people who know Washington best. That's Powerhouse Politics. And you can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening right now. Just search for Powerhouse Politics and subscribe today.
Next tonight, hear your money and how to make a little extra cash becoming a mystery shopper, often at the same stores you already go to. ABC's Lindsay Janis out to save your money tonight.
You won't notice them, but they're out there in stores and in restaurants. So-called mystery shoppers, hired by retailers to shop undercover and give feedback.
You've been a mystery shopper for over 10 years.
Yes, I'm a pro.
We caught up with Lori Cheek, not on the job today, but when she is, she's like a secret agent on a quality control mission, checking every detail.
The lighting in a window, maybe the carpet at the entry, the stock, the staff.
She records her observations and files a report.
How long does the job take?
Some of them can take 10 minutes, some of them can take 2 hours.
Lori says she makes up to $700 a month and gets free food and merchandise. While the pay and the perks may be tempting, the government warns there are several scams out there. So if you want to be a mystery shopper, do your homework. Legitimate companies don't charge people to work for them, so never pay fees to be a mystery shopper. And beware of another scam that asks you to deposit a check, then wire some of the money back in order to activate your employment. David?
Yes, never pay them, let them pay you. Lindsay, thank you. When we come back, a quiz for you tonight. The top sports teams in the world and the American team at the top of the list. Also, that commuter train nightmare, passengers walking through the tunnels, and a major cancer breakthrough that helped this little girl and could affect so many.
Hey, it's Rebecca Jarvis, and I wanted to tell you about my podcast, No Limits. We bring you a new guest with a new story every Tuesday. We're talking to trailblazing women across a variety of industries to hear about how they've built success and carved a unique path. And you can find it on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening right now. Just search No Limits with Rebecca Jarvis and subscribe today.
To the index of other news tonight, fire knocking out power to part of Boston's mass transit system, the T as it's called there. Trains on the Green Line stopped in their tracks. About 300 passengers evacuated, forced to walk through the tunnels there. 2 people taken to the hospital with minor injuries. A major medical breakthrough tonight, an FDA panel approving a first-of-its-kind gene therapy to battle leukemia in children and young adults. Novartis Pharmaceuticals and the University of Pennsylvania developing the drug referred to as CAR-T therapy. Doctors in Philadelphia say Emily Whitehead, the first pediatric patient to receive the treatment, has been cancer-free for more than 5 years. The FDA's final decision is expected in September. Really encouraging. And how about them Cowboys tonight? Forbes revealing the Dallas Cowboys is the most valuable sports team in the world. The team worth $4.2 billion. The New York Yankees are second, valued at $3.7 billion. And, of course, they're followed by soccer and Manchester United. When we come back here tonight, America Strong, Deborah Roberts takes us behind the scenes on Broadway tonight, your front row seat for something very special.
I'm Good Morning America's Robin Roberts. Ever wonder how some people go through devastatingly hard times only to bounce back better than ever?
This woman here, losing her, I'd probably be dead.
It took losing a limb for me to push those physical boundaries.
I need to participate in my own rescue here. I got to take my game to another level.
Discover how others find unexpected inner strength in the aftermath of adversity. Hear their stories on my podcast, Everybody's Got Something. Check it out on iTunes or abcnewspodcast.com.
Finally tonight here, America Strong. What happens when the school play plays out on Broadway? The school children who never thought they'd have their Broadway debut. Here's Deborah Roberts.
Morning's just beginning in East Elmhurst, New York, but students from PS 127 have already been hard at work for months.
Bye.
About to perform The Lion King Kids.
And I play Zazu. My name is Anna Barisita, and I am playing Rafiki. My name is Anthony Isaac, and wait, tell me the question again.
A question his class almost didn't get to answer. School plays are a rite of passage, but for districts with shrinking funding,
a lot of times arts are sacrificed.
That's where Disney, ABC's parent company, steps in with their Disney Musicals in School program, offering free performance tools to schools in need. And for kids in New York City, a trip to Broadway.
They actually get to perform here at the iconic New Amsterdam Theater.
Parents waiting around the block to get in.
Let's take a look backstage through the official stage door.
It's almost showtime.
Come on. So you're just about to go on. How you feeling?
A bunch of butterflies in my stomach.
The little stars take the stage. The reviews raves.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
When you go home now tonight, what are you going to feel?
I'm going to dream about it all night long.
A dream come true.
Our thanks to Deborah Roberts and to those budding stars for making our night. Thanks for watching here on a Wednesday evening. I'm David Muir. I hope to see you right back here tomorrow.